mark. Okay, so it's come to my attention that Gearbox are suing the good folks over at Interceptor Entertainment and 3D Realms for their use of for their announcement of Duke Nukem Mass Destruction. I don't know what to say about this, because Gearbox have just totally pulled the wool over everybody's eyes for their two last games that are well, film franchises. Well, not film franchises, but IPs that are well liked and well loved amongst a certain kind of people. They pulled the wool over everybody's eyes with Colonial Marines and how they funded the not Colonial Marines, but Borderlands 2 DLC, with the money that came from money that should have gone to Colonial Marines, and they totally messed up Duke Nukem forever. There was a lot of shady stuff behind the scenes about that, from what I've heard, and this is just ridiculous. As far as I'm aware, that Gearbox... Now, here's the thing, guys. Gearbox and Interceptor have a history. Interceptor were going to be releasing a free... Well, not really like a free version of Duke Nukem 3D titled Reloaded, which was going to be a... like a redone version in the Unreal 3 engine. And Gearbox weren't happy with this. Gearbox said, you can't release that. So they took it down. And then they said, you can release that, but only if you make no money off it. And because Duke Nukem Forever totally bombed, Gearbox, aren't going to release that. Gearbox weren't going to let Interceptor release that. And the guys at Interceptor are no longer releasing it because they're a money-making company now. They've made money with the Rise of the Triad reboot. So I guess it kind of makes sense. I mean, Interceptor are a great company. They've got great people working for them. They care about their fan base. They listen when we have concerns about their games and whatnot. So it's pretty good to have a developer like them in the industry, where it's essentially greed and of a capitalist nature. So it's nice to have a developer like them out there. But this whole thing, I don't know if Gearbox are spiting Interceptor Entertainment, considering as a result of let me try and rephrase this. I seem to believe that because of certain contracts and a thing that went on with Gearbox and Apogee Software, Apogee Software have the rights to things that were planned before 2009, which are the Duke Nukem trilogy, in which Critical Mass was the first of the three, and it bombed big time. It was on the Nintendo DS of all consoles. It was like a platformer, and the word was it wasn't very good. It wasn't like Duke Nukem Manhattan Project, which was actually decent to a point. So I've got no idea where to go with this. I mean, Gearbox have kind of been doing this and blaming other people for problems on their end for a while now, but if it's not like a money grabbing thing by Gearbox, I don't know. I'm not a legal expert. I'm just kind of just giving my viewpoint as a fan across, just mainly because Interceptor are a great studio and they need more love. Definitely more love. Even though their game didn't run very well, they tried to fix the problems, and it was kind of like, we kind of let them off because they kind of had a great care and a great nature to them, whereas Gearbox are just a big corporate machine, you know. I mean, Randy Pitchford's a pretty... He's a nice guy, okay? I don't trust him, and I don't believe a word he says, but he has enthusiasm. Whereas with Interceptor, all the guys over on that end have enthusiasm. They tell the truth. They don't lie about their products. Not to my knowledge, anyway. And they've got like a crazy marketing director a crazy head of marketing who is so enthusiastic about the games Interceptor are doing. I mean, that's probably the whole point of a marketing guy, but it's kind of cool to see an indie studio like that. I'm just kind of concerned that because of Gearbox going to sue, and if they win, I'm kind of concerned like about the royalties. Well, not the royalties, but the actual payment they have here. But I'm kind of basing my assumption off, well, off the fact that Interceptor and Apogee have a contract that states they can have everything before 2009, which would kind of assume everything that was planned before 2009, not things that were released before 2009. So in my mind, that kind of makes sense that they can have everything before 2009 and never allowed to release and work on things that were planned, whereas Gearbox only have the rights to the IP of Duke Nukem, but after Duke Nukem Forever kind of bombed and got just a wall of shit thrown at it because it was terrible, I'm not too sure Gearbox would want to be doing anything with a license right now. Anyway, I mean, I know the rumor is Duke Begins is going to eventually pop up, which was like a rumored prequel. But for now, the only thing we have is Duke Nukem Mass Destruction that's announced, which is an isometric action RPG. Yeah, you heard this, an isometric action RPG, which is a bit weird for a Duke Nukem game. I know we've had like platformers in the past, and we've had first-person shooters, but we've never had an ARPG before. Like, what's it going to be like? You know, Duke Nukem goes Diablo. You know, it could be good, it could be terrible, but the fact is, just because Interceptor have made one type of game before doesn't mean they can't do another. They've made the spectacular Rise of the Triad reboot, which, according to my Steam library, I have played 210, 220, 230 hours of. And that's says something, seeing as my attention span for video games is like 5 minutes and I'm done, effectively. I mean, I guess it was because of the community that I stayed, and the guys over there were great, but for Interceptor to kind of have a lawsuit on their hands on game 2, that's interesting. I just hope they just don't get taken down because of this. I mean, they've probably got like a backup plan or whatever, but to be fair, I was wondering if and when Gearbox were going to do this, because, well, Duke Nukem's their IP, but Interceptor and Apogee have the rights to things pre-2009, so it's kind of interesting to see how this will pan out. I'm kind of hoping it doesn't do too much damage on either side, because Gearbox, when they develop their own things, like their own IPs, you know, Borderlands or Brothers in Arms, they're decent. They're a pretty good studio when they actually aren't leaving up other people's messes and lying about what's happening with their games. And for the sake of this, I'm not gonna like say Gearbox or like an evil machine or whatever, because you can't do that in a case like this, because there genuinely may be, Gearbox may genuinely have a reason to sue, but if they do, then I'll be genuinely surprised. I mean, didn't they also sue one of the developers of Colonial Marines quite recently? Sorry, no, they didn't. They had a press action lawsuit against them for lying, which I don't know what happened to the end result of that. But if somebody can kind of link me to that in the comments, that would be absolutely great. Sorry for the rambling, guys, but it's just my take on things. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you like this video, and beware, I'll see you for the next one.